Good morning, everybody. We're going to conclude the Eric Clapton Journeyman series this morning with our look at the massive 24 Nights box set called the Definitive 24 Nights, which was released on June 23rd of this year. Let me give you a little background on 24 Nights. Eric Between the years of 1990 and 1991, Eric played a total of 24 shows at London's Royal Albert Hall, and these were unique shows in that he played nights with a blues band which comprised revolving special guests like Jimmy Vaughn, Robert Cray, Buddy Guy, Albert Collins, and many, many more. And he would play, other nights he would play with an orchestra and his road band at the time, which comprised, among others, Greg Gaines, Tessa Niles, Katie Kassoon, Nathan East, Steve Ferroni, and others. And other nights he would play with a rock band, with just his road band with the musicians I mentioned a second ago. And sometimes he would have Phil Collins play on a couple songs, either on drums or tambourine, or in some cases sing harmony or backgrounds. And out of these 24 shows, between 90 and 91, he released a live album called 24 Nights back in, I believe, sometime around 91 or 2. Or I think 91. But I had that original record both on CD and video, because uh, the record, the concert came out on video and DVD, and over the years on YouTube, I had seen outtakes from those shows, so I knew more songs than were on the original release existed. And to be honest, I was a little underwhelmed with the home video release, especially after I knew that more songs existed and more footage existed. So when the definitive 24 Nights came out about a month ago, I was super excited, because, and after looking at the track listing, I was even more excited because the um, it had several songs that he hadn't done live in a couple of years up to that point. Mainly Knocking on Heaven's Door, which I believe he hadn't done live since the 70s. And I was super excited to not only be able to hear it, but to see it, because I hadn't been able to, I didn't own a video copy, any video footage of Eric doing Knocking on Heaven's Door. And so I was super excited. But some of my favorites on here, or as part of the set, include No Alibis, which is probably my all-time favorite song from Journeyman. And of course, Knocking on Heaven's Door. Another one of my all-time favorites is the orchestral version of Layla. It's just gorgeous. The only I tell you, when I was jamming to it for the first time, playing the drums, I was so used to the other arrangements that I heard where they play the full song. Um, I was kind of, I was kind of, I was kind of not used to the arrangement, and I started to play the drum part to the entrance of the drum part in the coda, and the orchestra, the drum part hadn't come in yet. Um, but I just I just love the orchestral version of Layla. It is gorgeous, and I am so glad that he did the orchestral version of Layla. And by the way, the orchestra was conducted by Eric's friend Michael Kamen, who also wrote a orchestral piece called Concerto for Electric Guitar for Eric, which is part of the orchestral show, but we'll get to the orchestral show in more depth in a minute. But as far as the rock show goes, it opens with Pretending, and closes with I believe Layla or Crossroads, and the version of Crossroads is more in the cream style of Crossroads as far as the drumming goes, and then it closes with an 11-minute version of Sunshine of Your Love, which is just fantastic, with a drum duet between Steve Ferrone and Ray Cooper towards the end of the number. And the version of Crossroads that's on the rock show opens with an improvisational guitar jam that Eric does before they go into the number. And before I get too far ahead of myself, the set is comprised of 9 CDs or 9 discs between now each, like I said in the Coming Reviews trailer on Sunday, and I corrected myself yesterday, the box set does not have all 24 shows in it, which came out to be like 40 some odd shows between 90 and 91, but they only released 24, but they only recorded 24. And so each show is represented. There's one orchestral show, one blues show, and one rock show, both on, there's, each show is recorded on 2 CDs and 1 Blu-ray. And as far as the rock show again goes, he is still doing stuff from like August and kind of like his 80-ish catalog. And um, so he's not too far removed from like the August and Behind the Sun time periods. And so the band has a kind of 80-ish uh, sound to them. But as far as the blues show goes, there's only 14 songs on the blues show, and the band for the blues show is Jimmy Vaughn, Johnny Johnson, Chuck Berry's piano player, Jamie Oldaker from Eric's old road band from the 70s, Buddy Guy, Albert Collins, and of course Eric, and Jerry Portnoy, the harmonica player, but I forgot, oh, and Chuck Leavell also on keyboards. And I forgot the bass player's name, but this, the blues show is so good. It's not even funny. They open with a very with a with a bluesy version of Key to the Highway from the Layla record, which is also one of my favorite blues numbers. But one of my all-time favorite blues numbers is Worried Life Blues, and that's the second number on the in the set list for the blues show. And then they do a Buddy Guy number, Watch Yourself, which they also reprise at the end. And then somewhere down the road, or somewhere in the set list, I can't remember where, Johnny Johnson does a piano instrumental called Johnny's Boogie that I love. And so it is just fantastic. And the only thing that I don't like, there's a version of Cocaine on the rock show that has saxophone in it, and I do not like that version. I don't think the saxophone fits well in the arrangement, and it kind of detracts from the song. But that's the only criticism I have of the whole thing. The rest of it is just fantastic. And as far as the orchestral show goes, this is probably my favorite one of the whole box set. I mean, it opens with Crossroads. Well, it opens with an overture, which is actually an instrumental version of the last part of the coda, or an orchestral instrumental version. And then it opens properly with Crossroads, and then they run through stuff like Lay Down Sally, which is on both the orchestral and the rock performances. And then they do a gorgeous version of one of my all-time favorite Eric songs, Holy Mother, with Katie Kassoon's vocal performance on this is fantastic. This is one of her best vocal performances with Eric ever. and then they do an instrumental of a piece that Eric wrote for a movie. I don't remember which movie, but or a TV show called Edge of Darkness, and but um, and then um, they also do the 30-minute piece Concerto for Electric Guitar, which starts out orchestrically, then at various points the band join in, and then of course they do White Room and all that, all the Eric staples. But and then Nathan East, the bass player, does a piece called A Remark You Made, which goes directly into the orchestral version of Layla, which I already said is my favorite version of Layla ever. And and they also do Old Love and Wonderful Tonight from Journeyman and Slowhand. And two, along with the CD and Blu-rays, there is a hardcover book with some pretty cool pictures from the Eric's residency at the Royal Albert Hall, and there is also a lithograph that comes with it too. And the sound, the audio mix on the box set is just fantastic. Actually, I think it's better than the original release. You can really hear the drums more clearly than the original release back in '91. So they just did a fantastic job on this. And so overall, I really hope you enjoy this.